If there is any man in the Trump administration that can take a bad situation and make it so much worse, it's Mr. Hegseth. Pete Hegseth was caught doing something very bad. The timing couldn't be worse, and he is going to try to hide this video. Yes, Pete Hegseth was caught doing the unthinkable while America was watching. So all of this while the crew of the USS Abraham Lincoln has been stuck in a war zone longer than any other deployment since World War II. They have been sitting inside a floating metal box with barely any food, horrible conditions for over 240 days just to protect Israel. Literally, we are traumatizing thousands of exhausted service members just to maintain a taxpayer-funded naval blockade for Bibi Netanyahu. Like, imagine for a second having a family member deployed in a war zone for almost 9 months. Hearing that things are getting bad enough that people are struggling to cope. Service members are jumping overboard. They're begging for help. Families are demanding actual answers about when these exhausted crew members might get some relief. And the administration heard their cries and responded with Pete Hegseth, who saw this aircraft carrier and he looked at the severity of the situation and he said, best I can do is testosterone, high T, because he is a fucking sociopath. Now, if you've ever had a doubt, the lengths that this administration will go to distract you from how little fucks this administration gives about its troops, just wait. You would hope that the person running our armed forces, the guy who rebranded his whole title to Secretary of War, was busy figuring out how to bring these people home, how to get them help, how to give them a day off, or get them some supplies for basic hygiene. But no, I'm going to show you exactly what Mr. Hegseth was caught doing while these families begged and waited for answers. But allow me to get you up to speed on what this whole latest gift is that Pete Hegseth is giving to the military.
U.S. Navy ship has been at sea for 200 days straight, and sailors are trying to jump overboard. Here's what we know. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal sent a letter to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and other U.S. Navy officials Wednesday expressing concern about the conditions on board the USS Abraham Lincoln, which has been deployed for more than 250 days due to the war in Iran. Around 200 family members of the 5,000 sailors and Marines on board told Navy leaders at a town hall meeting last week that their loved ones had exhibited deteriorated mental and physical health as the ship's conditions worsen after 9 months without returning to land. Reports from Stars and Stripes and the Navy Times, two prominent U.S. military news outlets, say that multiple crew members made attempts to jump overboard. Blumenthal's letter cited numerous reports of shortages of basic supplies, water contamination, plumbing issues, and disruptions in the mail system. Families at the meeting described moldy showers, broken toilets, no hot water for weeks, and meals that came down to half a cup of rice and 2 tortillas, according to California Rep. Mike Levin. One family member reportedly stated that the ship's own doctor warned they needed to reach port soon or people are going to start losing their minds. The U.S. Navy denied the allegations in a statement to CNN, claiming that they have not observed an increase in suicidal ideations or attempts aboard the ship. Blumenthal wrote that the Defense Department owes the service members on board not only adequate supplies, maintenance, and support during this deployment, but a sustainable force generation model that does not rely on repeatedly extending sailors and ships to meet persistent operational demands.
And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Lauren Preacher, Willa Preacher, and we do this every single day to protect you from these grifters like Pete Hegseth, like Stephen Little Bitch Miller, who might be lurking around at any moment. And, I just heard he was breaching the containment. So I need you guys to stay safe. I need you to subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcast, leave us a 5-star rating, hype if you're watching on YouTube. That is going to keep you safe from Stephen Miller. So let's start off, before I show you what Hegseth was up to, with the gaslighters, okay? Let's start off right here.
I mean, how weak are you on TV complaining about tuna and noodles? I'm sorry. You volunteered to serve your country. You can come back, get out of the military, and do like all of these Democrat veterans and complain about it and make commercials and be a sellout if you want to and come up with a new way of doing things. The last Democrat president that I remember that was deploying troops, Barack Obama, had the Army going to Iraq on patrol bases for 15 months at a time. eating MREs. I'm sorry, but you're a sitting duck on a patrol base in Iraq, in Afghanistan, a heck of a lot more than you are on a fortified Navy ship sitting in the water. You might have got bored, and I'm sorry. We did have more fun getting in firefights, I'll say that. But to sit there and say that it was terrible because you had a corn dog and a hot dog, I would have traded a block of C4 to the Taliban for a hot dog by about July 2010.
Before I even looked up this man, I was like, okay, redhead, probably allergic to bees. No disrespect to the gingers. I love you. But this guy, so, okay, I get it. He is, we're grateful for his service. However, why does he have to be such a dick? You guys know that pain is not a contest. You don't have to compete. Pain is relative, okay? And then we see some of the responses to these tweets. Lights, camera, bullshit, Fox News. Put Joey on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Does your asshole ever get jealous of all the shit that comes out of your mouth? That's a good one. And then we have James S. saying, you're supposed to die for Israel quietly. So listen, guys, you think that was bad? Trump, who can't even wipe his own ass, is also 0% concerned.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship. No. Not nearly long enough. Thank you, everybody.
Not nearly long enough. Where's Barron? Let's get him out there. How about that? Trump is a draft dodger, okay? Donnie Trump is a draft dodger. He let members of the administration fly off in a plane that had a hit on it a couple of days ago. Do you really think he gives a F about our military? No. And today's episode is brought to you by Quince. You know that feeling when summer starts to wind down and you can actually breathe for a second? That's August for me. I actually have time to think about things like, do I actually need a 17 white tank tops or t-shirts? Spoiler alert, I don't. But what I do need is the right pieces that work harder than I do. And that's exactly what I found with Quince. Quince isn't about quantity, it's about quality. They specialize in those effortless, high quality essentials that actually make getting dressed every day easier. We're talking about ultra soft organic cotton basics, premium cashmere sweaters that actually feel like a hug, and everything is so beautifully tailored that it actually fits your body. So these pieces transition seamlessly from morning streams, morning meetings, or anything straight through to dinner without you having to think about it. And here's the thing that really got me. Everything at Quince costs 50 to 80% less than similar brands. How? Because they work directly with ethical factories and skip all the middleman markup. So you're actually paying for quality, not a logo. So for me, it's their sunnies, it's their basics like tanks. I've had their duvet since I moved into this home. My designer recommended them and the rest is history because it's affordable, quality, clean. I'm a Quince fan for life kind of vibe. So beyond the apparel, Quince brings the same everyday elevation to hotel quality bedding and bath, kitchen staples, travel essentials, and furniture that's actually thoughtfully designed. It's not just about looking good, it's about living well. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/Lauren. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/Lauren, LOREN. Real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Everyone's talking about weight loss injections because the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering your blood sugar and reducing your appetite. So what if you're looking to lose weight, but you're not interested in those painful weekly injections, especially when you hear about some of those intense side effects? Well, that's why doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean, and the results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it to energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. But listen, Lean is not for the casual dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 or more pounds to lose. And let's get you started today with 20% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your healthy diet and exercise plan. You can visit takelean.com and enter code Lauren, that's LOREN, for your discount. That's promo code Lauren at takelean.com. So someone who didn't dodge the draft had something to say. So this is retired Navy Captain Carl Schuster dropping a brutal reality check.
But let's face it, 200 days is a period longer than that we've seen since World War II. In my day, a 68-day deployment, 68 days continuously at sea was considered stressful. We had a couple of ships do 90, but we never had anyone do 200. And if you're down in the propulsion spaces, working 12, 14 hours a day, you don't see the sun. And so you're very dependent on your relationship with those around you, your interactions, and you increasingly feel isolated. So even minor things become a major issue over time.
I got to be honest with you guys too. If you could see behind me, I have been home for 40 something days without a lot of free time because Willa's been sick. That is enough to drive me banana town. And I love my dog and I'm with her. And I have access to food and a kitchen and sunlight, and I'm still going a little crazy town. So I cannot imagine, and I have so much compassion and empathy for the family members trying to get these people out for what these people are experiencing. We are not built for that. And it is not a pain contest. Trump wouldn't last a fucking day without his diaper bag, okay? Wait till you see, while all this is going down, what Mr. Hegseth was caught doing as the troops suffer. So then we also have a congressional investigation going on right now into the USS Abraham Lincoln. And what has occurred during this 9-month deployment after families were begging for help because people were literally jumping overboard, wanting to end their lives. They were in so much physical and mental anguish. And then I also want to show you some text messages Aaron Parnas was receiving, because Aaron was receiving texts that show just how dire these conditions were that Trump said isn't long enough.
Prisoners in American prisons get better meal rations than these troops are getting right now in the Middle East.
I know you're hearing from a lot of military families. What are you hearing? What else are you learning?
I've spoken to numerous military families, specifically the wives of their husbands who are currently on board the Abraham Lincoln. And also now, before we hopped on, received an email from someone on the USS George W. Bush who confirmed that the issues are there as well. I mean, ultimately, right now, our service members abroad are having moldy showers, are not getting detergent, not getting soap. They're not getting fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Some service members haven't had a fresh meal in months. The only fresh food they get is meat. And the meat comes frozen. That's the only thing. And the images we're getting from these troops on these ships, I mean, prisoners in American prisons get better meal rations than these troops are getting right now in the Middle East. And it's led, as we've seen reporting today come out, to some service members wanting to essentially jump overboard rather than continue these deployments.
And I'm just going to quickly show you what we're seeing here. So there's stained showers, filthy bathrooms.
All right, y'all. So a couple of y'all wanted to see how the ship look, or the head look, aka the bathroom. The showers right here, you feel me? This is what we go through on a carrier in the Navy. They say join the Navy, right? Join the Navy. Yeah, look at this, y'all. This is crazy. This ain't even the worst part, man. Sinks atrocious. Wait till y'all see the toilets, man. Look at the toilet. Y'all expect me to take a doo-doo in this, y'all? Nah. Y'all crazy.
It's pretty brutal.
Look at this.
I mean, it looks like
Come
how
on
you'd
now.
imagine
Join the Navy, though, right? Join the Navy.
Jail cell toilet to look like. And listen, I know people are probably like, well, they're military, they're at sea. Guys, it doesn't mean we get to torture them and watch them suffer. That's not what it's about, especially when this is all very much within our realm of control. So now I want to show you what Pete Hegseth was doing. Pete Hegseth rejected reports of these conditions being worse. He said, none of this is all fake news. Meanwhile, we have sailors going overboard. The crew, their mental health is in decline. And he's saying that this is all just a bunch of fake news.
Completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure at every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment. Some deployments are longer than others, and I have more respect and gratitude for those sailors than anybody. What they do in those high seas and those austere conditions with less port calls, it's incredible. I mean, Americans don't understand what it's like to do that. So as someone who's not been on a ship like that, but been on long deployments, I feel it. I want them home as soon as everybody else do. I want folks rotated as quickly as possible. I want the best for them. My commanders know that. Our service secretaries know that. The president expects that. And so to that crew and to all those crews, we're going to do everything we can for you. And we are so grateful for their dedication of that crew and others. They've held the line for the country, and they've done a fantastic job.
Everything they can, okay? You want to see what everything they can entails? Because this is the Secretary of War. This is Mr. Hegseth. Notice what he didn't do? He didn't explain he was wrong. He just declared the whole thing was, completely misrepresented and moved on. All while sitting his drunk ass at Trump's Florida golf course, while families were still trying to figure out whether their loved ones were okay. Hegseth did what Hegseth does best. He hit the freaking bottle. He was sitting at a golf course with little Marco.
Filma el video. No coge la copa. No, dale más para acá la copa. Dale la copa. No, pero la cabeza. Aguanta ahí. Dale la copa. Coge Rubio.
So while all the troops are suffering through this extended deployment, what do we have? Pete Hegseth hitting the bottle. Leadership by example. Really solid, huh? Wow, what a guy. Total sociopath. So you've got military families demanding answers about what happened to their loved ones, and you've got Hegseth dismissing the reports, and then you see him chilling out with little Marco, with little Marco's big shoes. Got it. Okay, we're going to keep digging in here. We want justice for these families. We want to see them port. We want to see them get rest. We want to see them get care and food and sustenance. We're going to be following this one. I hope you can amplify this video. Again, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is right there. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back with more.